Alright. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic. That's non-classics. This is episode number 2340 and Doubleshot number 2234. I have this X-Men Epic Collection plus some Uncanny X-Men issues to discuss. This book in particular, we're not talking about everything for this one because this book, I collect the issues 297-300 of Uncanny X-Men along with the annual. X-Men Volume 2, issues 17 to 23, Sapphire Strike Route, X-Men number 1. 297, I've kind of talked about this already in Execution Song, so I'm going to talk about this one. 298-300 is mostly put debuting some members of the Acolytes. Yes. That's mostly put exactly, and some people who are associated with the X-Men books still to this very day. In 298, we get the first appearance of Frenzy. Yes, Frenzy. This is pretty much her debut. I should point out, though, this is basically her as Cargill. Yes, just her last name, Cargill. Frenzy actually first appeared back in the 80s as, a different character name. Yes. She first appeared in issue 4 as Frenzy herself. This is her as a different name, just going by her last name here. We also have the appearance of Uncanny. Her real first name was not revealed into basically another book. Yeah, it's like, that's most of what these issues are, just debut of new characters. In 299, we get a debut of one is Pamela Greenwood, who is known as Fatal. Yeah, she is not that known of a character in X Comics per se. Yeah, she doesn't do much yet. She only made 32 appearances over the years. Mostly put, she just was a character who appeared in mostly X Factor and some extra issues of X-Men Volume 2. And her most recent appearance actually wasn't all of X Factor number 12. But 299, oh boy, we get the debut of the son of Victor Creed, aka Sabretooth and Mystique, Graydon Creed. This is his debut appearance. Graydon Creed, despite being the son of two of the X-Men's most popular mutants, he has no powers. He's basically just a normal guy. And the guy is Notorious Bacon in X-Men Comics. He is one of the most well-known ones up there with Stephen Lang, Cameron Hodge, and William Stryker. This issue is his debut appearance. And if you're really curious, is he dead? Well, he was. He's not anymore. He's been killed like 2 or 3 times over the years. Like, his son has murdered him. Like, the first time he actually died was actually issue X Factor. Yep. Where, get this, he was killed by a fugitive version of his hot mom Mystique. Yep. Yeah, all because basically of another character Howard Mankey created. And then he was resurrected in X-Force Volume 3. By the way, his death was in X-Factor 130, which was basically in the year 1997. Yeah. He made his debut in, if I can get to the right page here, he made his debut in 1993. He was only around for a few years, got killed off, brought back a couple times, and he's still around. But here's a strange thing, though. Graydon Creed, you think Graydon Creed, oh yeah, his group is basically Friends Team Humanity. That's definitely true, but here's something really strange about the Friends of Humanity. Unlike in, let's say, the cartoons, where they became like the most biggest organization in his show, they didn't really appear a lot in the X-Men comics. And you're thinking, really? The Friends of Humanity appeared much? Yeah, aside from X number 91 appeared in X-Force, New Mutant, New Warriors. They appeared all over the place in the 90s. And then once the 90s wrapped up, which by the way, the last appearance in the 90s was actually, I think, an issue of Maverick, or, let's see. I think it was an X number 30, which was released in, let's see. Last appearance in the 90s was an issue of Maverick. And then in the first decade of this current century, they appeared 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Actually, they appeared 3 times. Let's see. Just a couple times. In the last decade, they appeared a good amount of times. They were actually a player during Extreme Carnage. But there's also Humanity's Last Stand. They also have not really appeared very much at all. Yeah, it's like you have these well-known organizations in X-Men comics who hate the X-Men. It seems like the only ones basically are highly active is the frickin' Purifiers. Oh, and the Upstarts? Yeah, they don't make a debut in this. They make the issue 281. So it was like right after Chris come out left, we debuted the Upstarts. And they were pretty much around for a while. And then they stopped appearing. It's like they appeared for like heavily throughout a little bit of the 90s. And then they disappeared. I guess I'm not sure. Yeah, after issue of X-Force, they later show up in issue of Uncanny X-Men, and then like the very next issue, like they get disbanded. Yeah, they're like the only one still disbanded right now. 300 is the debut of another few more acolytes. One is Emily Vaught. You might be thinking, who is Amelia Vaught? You might ask. Why? She was next girlfriend Charles Xavier, who she hates Xavier for using his telepathy to force her to stay with him. Yep, and they brought this up in the TV show where they were basically past lovers. Yeah, and she was kind of the way his nurse in a way. There's also Nephantite, that's his name. He doesn't really do very much at all. Young like Amelia Vaught appears still in comics very day. He only appeared just mostly in the 90s. And then one issue of News, and that was it. I think he died. Let's see. After issue like 94 of X-Men, I think he died. Or at least he just stopped appearing. He appeared 2 more times after that, and that's it. It's like some of his characters most associated with 1990s. There's also Milan. And he appeared just a dozen times over the years. Yes, I have 300. He appears like very sporadically, and his last appearance was in Heroes for Hire / Quicksilver and 98. Also, it's like Nokia, Spore, Carnotu, Chavez, someone named Mellencamp, and that's mostly it. It's a good celebration issue. There's an epilogue in here, mostly for stuff related to like flashback stuff. Excuse me. And then we have the 17th annual Uncanny X-Men, where sadly put we have basically the death of Jason Wendigo, aka Mastermind. Yes, a character made debut in the 60s. He gets killed off in this annual. Thanks to the events of the Legacy virus. He gets stabbed too by this guy called the Executioner. Yeah, he's a mutant killer. And you might be curious though, does this guy still appear in comics? Kind of, yes. Like, after this issue, he appears in one issue comics. I want to talk about that. Like, one issue of X-Men, a couple issues of Generation X, recurring character pages of Punisher, pages of Gambit Volume 3, and a couple issues of Marauders, like the most recent book. And that's mostly been it for him. Yeah. But they also killed the character Tower, who was part of the Alliance of Evil back in the 80s. And he stayed dead for, if you're really curious, he was brought back in 2009 after being dead for, like 16 years. Then he died again and came back thanks to Krakatoa stuff. There's a second story here. There's also a guy named Wallace Benton. This was his solo appearance. He was basically Cena Blaze's boyfriend. Cena Blaze is a character who debuted in Strike File. Yeah, basically it's Strife. Basically the book also had a debut of the character Holocaust. Yeah. Yeah, a few other characters. This also is the first appearance of the Upstarts. Well, kind of anyways. Yeah, it's mostly put a one-shot that just basically... That mostly just had just Strive looking computers by profiles with various people. That's mostly what this one-shot is. My last thing to discuss this book is the X-Men Unlimited issue number 1. Excuse me. X-Men, in case you don't know what this book is, this was an actual ongoing series the X-Men actually had. You're thinking, really? Yes, really. It was mostly put a side book for X-Men. It lasted for a shocking 65 issues, one of 3 comic books that had this name Unlimited in the 1990s. The other 2 being Spider-Man Unlimited, and that was released quarterly, and that released 22 issues in about 6 years. And there was Fantastic Four Unlimited, except that was 12 issues. That was the shortest one. Mostly put in this first issue, its focuses on just various, like, it's a one-shot story. A lot of the time, X-Men is mostly put just a, how should I put this? It's an anthology book. Actually, it was 50 issues. This book lasted for 65, my mistake. Did you know there was a second volume for this book? Yes, there was. It managed to last for 14 issues. Ended in 2006, which is like a couple years after I got started reading comics. Yeah. Mostly put, it's an anthology book. And the first issue, it just features Cyclops versus Xavier, Storm, Selleck, and Bishop. Yeah, and it's also the last thing published in this book. By the way, the writing here is mostly by Scott. I think he just does the Uncanny X-Men issues. There's also from Caesar, Brandon Pearson, who's in the artwork, Adam Kubert, Jeremy G. Jr., Jeremy Mir, Jr., Chris Batchelor, Jason Pearson, Larry Stroman, Greg Capullo, and Tom Gremmett. I'm trying to find it here, the issue itself. Let's see. Like, it was one issue of the series that basically explained how Mystique met Sabretooth, and kind of in a way the issue kind of explains how Graydon Creed was conceived. Natural means, if you're really curious. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find it. Apparently they put it like right after issue 300. Oh, let me show off. Let's see if I can get it here. I thought I could find it here. So apparently this blonde guy is Graydon Creed. Yep, that's Graydon Creed. Yeah, and by the way, the X-Men animated series, referred to his father as Graydon Creed Sr. I have no idea why they did that for. It was by far one of the most baffling decisions that the show did. Like, his real name was Victor, not Graydon. Graydon's his son's name. Why would he name his son himself for? And he was also shooting a hologram of his own father, which was quite hilarious. Alright, here's X-Men Unlimited #1. And you might be curious though, what is the story of this one? Most put its focus on Cyclops and his ability to try to lead the team. With of course various other members, people appear in this book. Yeah, it just mostly put just a day in Cyclops' life. That's mostly put exactly what this issue is. Uh, no real death in this issue, surprisingly. Cyclops saves Storm's life. They're his close friends. They've never actually been romantic with each other, which is surprising. Yeah. It's a pretty interesting issue for what it is. But in the case of this trade overall, it's really good. Now, why am I not discussing issues on Uncanny X-Men Volume 2 issues 17 to 23? Because I've already discussed issues already in the X-Men's Shaking of Souls trade. So that's why I'm discussing it. Now moving on to... Oh, by the way, I give that trade. We give basically 290 to 300, the annual, and X-Men Limited 1, a 10 out of 10. I thought they were really good. Next up we have is basically some individual issues. Yes. We are discussing issues 301, 302, 305, 306, and 308 to 314, because basically it leads into all stuff with the fan-like stuff. This issue mostly put just has Celine. By the way, this issue is written by, you can tell by the artwork, it's Jarmy Jr., obviously. Is it, excuse me. Is it Lobdell on the artwork, on the writing? I believe so. Yep, it's his writing. This one has the first full appearance of Selena Blaze. Yep. It's mostly just the X-Men fighting the upstarts for this issue, and fighting Chair Fitzroy in the next issue. Chair Fitzroy, mostly been depicted as basically like a arch nemesis in the TV show of basically, well, Bishop. Now, why am I skipping some issues for this batch? Well, there's kind of a reason for that. If I can find him here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So it turns out 303 I've discussed already, so I can skip those issues. So, 301 and 30, actually I'm going to do 303. Those I'm discussing because basically they're the in-between stuff. Between that's not been collected yet. Why am I stopping at 306 when I finish up 303? Because 307 basically is Blood Ties. And then pretty much after that, it's like, I thought it was like 5 issues, but there's that. Yeah, basically, it's mostly, these are the in-between issues. Yep. And, well, yeah, so mostly put, like I mentioned, they find the upstarts. It was Celine of the Hellfire Club in this issue. In issue 302. It should focus on Colossus. Yeah. Yeah, Flat Colossus is basically the main focus is fighting Chipper Fitzroy. 303 is mostly put just a story mostly focused on Jubilee. That's mostly put exactly what it is. 305 has this weird cover image of basically you have Rogue basically on control and you have Bishop holding her by the legs. Yeah. And mostly put, it's a prelude to the Phalanx. Yep, that's mostly put exactly what 305 is. 306 is basically where the X versus Cameron Hodge, who gets destroyed in this issue. He gets killed off again. Yeah, yeah, he gets destroyed in this issue here. Though he comes back in 313. Yep, he's not gone very long. And then moving on to, well, since I've already discussed 308, 309, let's go 311. 311 is mostly put Bishop versus Sabretooth and the Phalanx. Yeah, mostly put we're just building up the debut of the Phalanx. Yeah, and also Emma Frost is in a coma. Yeah, so basically we're just like a lot of it just to build up to the Phalanx. Yeah, surprisingly, these issues were actually not collected in the main trade for or Generation X Tales of the Phalanx Covenant. Yeah, they actually did not collect them in there for some reason. Not really. Because that's most of what 311, 315 are. Basically just build up. Just, you have stuff with Emma Frost and, well, controlling Cyclops. Cyclops, Iceman. Cover art is mostly done issued by Lee Weeks and Bill Sienkiewicz. And 315, we have basically Exodus appear in this issue. It mostly focused on Colossus. Yes, Colossus is basically his issue. X has made his first appearance in X Factor 92. He's a Lobdell character. We have Nefertiti where he leaves the Acolytes in this issue. He, like, it's like he made his debut in issue 300. He leaves his very next appearance. And he appears sporadically afterwards. Is he dead? No, not dead. And then 316 begins the whole Phalanx Covenant story arc. Yep. These issues themselves are pretty good. Nothing really bad with these issues. But with these issues in particular, well, I still haven't reviewed the Phalanx Covenant one, so I can kind of say right now I have reviewed the first 315 issues. But once we have this one trade, then basically I can kind of, in a way, gone through like a lot of this era. I do mean a lot of this era. Mm-hmm. Let me check something on here. Because this may help me with this one. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's on there. Let me take a look on here for that one. Good. Oh, good, they are down there. Yeah, I'm trying to text something here, but Hmm. Yeah, sometimes basically this website does. It tends to not cooperate with me. Okay, that's why I can read. Okay, so yeah, so I figured out a way to review the next issues for Uncanny X-Men, Regeneration X. Yep. So that solves that problem there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um. But yeah, there's not really much else to discuss with these issues. So with that, when I get a chance for the Epic Classic Generation X, I would definitely be out of this era for Uncanny X-Men. Yep. But yeah, that's be pretty much it here for this particular review. Excuse me. Next up, Doctor Strange. Okay. Next video. Bye.